of Florida Victorious, Nate Barbera, to the show. Nate, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend.
Happy Monday.
It is great. It is great to see you. I know that we got the chance to meet last year at the LSU game. Silk, I believe you were there for a few minutes as well. But Nate, it's a pleasure. I know at the time we were talking about FAST, and everything was a little under the radar there. You got to tell me about everything that you guys were building. But for everybody that wants to know about you, about FAST, about Florida Victorious, why don't you give us your high level, elevator story?
Absolutely. Well, look, we all know that Gator Nation wants to win, and we want to do it the right way. And so that's what Florida Victorious is focused on. Our sole focus is making sure that we position the Gators in a spot where we can be victorious, and we can do it with integrity. We do that three different ways. One, by delivering life-changing impact for our student athletes using their name, image, and likeness as a force for good in the community. That's through the Florida Victorious Foundation, which is previously known as FAST. Two, providing unique experiences and access and content for our fans through Florida Victorious, which has the subscription memberships from $15 to $250 a month. And three, creating value for our charities and our other sponsors and partners through our promotional activities. So Florida Victorious has a number of business sponsors already, and we'd love to add more. All of that is done with the goal of rallying Gator Nation behind the Gators and UF student athletes to help us win. It's going to take everyone, and so the reason we built this as we did was to create something for everyone. An opportunity for everyone to get involved, everyone to support the Gators and make a difference, because it does make a difference. And that's the only way we're going to
win. Nate, want to talk a little bit about you as an individual first, before we kind of get into the University of Florida and Florida Victorious. What's your background? How did you ultimately get connected to the university? And then as you guys were looking at growing Florida, what's now known as Florida Victorious, you built out a hell of a staff to join you. So talk to us a little bit about your origin story and then building the organization.
Yeah. Well, look, the FAST got its start in June of 2022 with Jose Costa, who is a member of the UF Foundation Executive Board. He's a proud UF alum and a very successful business person based in Miami, Florida. I've worked for Jose for the last 6 years in various capacities in his in the family business that he eventually sold, as well as in additional opportunities over the last 6 years. And so he decided that he was going to step up and do what he could to make a difference for UF student athletes in the form of a 501c3 nonprofit. That was the Florida Achievement Support Trust, that is now Florida Victorious Foundation. And he called me up and said, "Hey, I need your help." He knows I'm a big sports fan, a big fan of the Gators. And so he asked me if I would help him get this done. And I told him absolutely yes. And the rest has been history. From my background in particular, I have a mechanical engineering undergrad. I have an MBA from Harvard Business School, and have done a variety of different things in both business and engineering. Most recently, I do a lot of consulting work for different businesses, as well as I've run sales teams, I've run engineering teams, and also actually had a startup that went on Shark Tank back in 2015. So done a lot of different things. And I think the one thing I've learned is, just say yes. When a cool opportunity comes around like this, you never expect it to happen, but when you do have the opportunity to make a difference, you say yes and you jump in head first and try to make it happen. And so, but the reality is, guys, it's not about me. This is about the team, and it's about all of Gator Nation. The only way we got to this launch last Tuesday was with a phenomenal team. We've got Lisa Benchaim, who is on was our first hire for the Florida Achievement Support Trust. She is our head of student athlete and charity engagement. She makes sure that everything behind the scenes gets done on time, every time. We have Ryan Dunn, who until a few weeks ago was part of the Scott Strickland staff. He is our chief of staff for Florida Victorious. We have We have Eric Reasoner, who is our director of development. He spent 4 or 5 years with the Gator Boosters, and then he led athletic fundraising at Georgia Southern and then at Colorado State for a brief period of time. And we brought him home. His wife's a Gator, he's a Gator, and so he's excited to be back on board. And then we have Felipe Torres, who's our CFO. He's a double Gator in accounting, bachelor's and master's. And then we have Jen Grosso, who's been phenomenal. She came over from the Gator Collective. It's a diehard, passionate Gator and incredibly sharp, very good at everything that she does. And she's helping us as our director of fan engagement. So we've got a phenomenal team. The reality is, if you want to win, you've got to have a team. You got to do it professionally. This is not a fly-by-night organization. This is an organization that's being built from the ground up. We're investing in the team to be able to do it in a way that's going to make all of Gator Nation proud. And that's how we're going to do it. We're going to win, and we're going to do it the right way with an awesome team.
Now, we talked about this a little bit, Nate, you and I. What are some of the ways to get people in and take this opportunity to talk about the 96 Club, which I think might be a little expensive for a lot of people, but some cool ideas behind the 96 Club and just some any other ideas for fan engagement and to get people involved in Florida Victorious.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it, Nick. Our tiers are from $15 to $250 a month. And so at the base tier at $15 a month, you get access to content, you get access to events and activities that we'll be scheduling and managing going forward. You get a decal and a bunch of other benefits. On the higher end of the spectrum, as you mentioned, the 96 Club is what I think is the most exciting tier. Yeah, it's $96 a month, which is a pretty penny for sure. But we hope that there are folks who are excited about this opportunity to engage with UF greats in a new and exciting way. Every member of the 96 Club gets a 96 Club polo and a visor with the logo that was designed by Gator great James Bates. And we will also then be having an annual event at Spurrier's with the head ball coach himself and a number of other members of the 96 championship team. At the end of the day, we thought this was a great, unique tier that really focuses on what we want to get back to, which is winning championships.
I like it. I like the rebrand, like the logo. We met at the like Dan said at the LSU tailgate.
Good to see you.
Right. Likewise. Speaking of the rebrand, like what message are you saying to the average fan? Because the collective, of course, went through a lot of things towards the end there. What is you guys' message to the fan that's still a little skeptical or just want to wait things out? What would you say to that fan?
Well, first, I would just say that this is a rebrand of FAST, the Florida Achievement Support Trust. It's not a rebrand of the Gator Collective. This is a different team, as you just heard, different goals. The Gator Collective did a lot of wonderful things for student athletes over the course of the last year and a half. Hundreds of student athletes that they were able to support, and in general, just did great work for UF. And we're the first ones to step up to the plate to make a difference in an IL at the University of Florida. That said, we are different. We are focused on doing things the way that that we did them with FAST, and building out from there. What I would say to those who are skeptical about the organization, I would say look at the team that was brought on board. Look at the advisory board who agreed to help support us. This is a serious professional organization that's going to do things the right way, in a way that will make all of Gator Nation proud. And I'll tell you, if you want to see the Gators win, this is a necessary aspect of everything that goes on in college football today. NIL is an important piece of the puzzle. It's not the only piece of the puzzle by any stretch, but it's an important piece of the puzzle. And so if we want to see the Gators be successful, this needs to be successful. And the only way we'll be successful is if people get up off the couch and make it happen.
No doubt.
That's just a fact.
Yeah, that is a fact. Nate, I got some questions just about NIL. When NIL came out a few years ago, I don't think that there was any real idea that collectives would be kind of the main thing driving NIL, right? I think a lot of people thought it'd be businesses, small businesses, whatever it might be. They were going to do kind of local deals, and the collective part came in. The Gator Collective is probably the reason that collectives are used in part of the vernacular, right? So over the last 2 years, couple years where NIL has been around the college football landscape, there's been a lot of criticism of collectives. There's been a lot of legislation where we're still trying to figure out the role of collectives. There's been a lot of just discussion about NIL as a whole. Where do you guys and your team envision NIL going over the next few years? The role of a collective versus connecting with large businesses, small businesses. What's kind of the nature of NIL around Florida over the next couple of years, in your opinion?
It's a great question, and I think I'll tell you, if I had a crystal ball, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. The reality is we don't know where it's going to go. It could change tomorrow, but that's partially why we built the team the way we built the team. We recognize that, and we built out the organization the way we built out the organization. We recognize that things will change, and we recognize that we've got to be ready for them. So we've got a multifaceted model where we've got fan subscriptions, we've got business sponsorships, and we've got nonprofit donations, each playing an important role in our organization. And so as the landscape continues to shift, we'll have multiple ways to engage with the fan and with the UF alumni base. And so I think that will help us. The other thing I would say is that we've got a team that's ready to tackle any challenge. And so it's hard to say what the future's going to
sure.
tell you. I just have no idea. But what I can tell you is that we've got a strong team that's ready to go, that we're not afraid of a challenge and we're not afraid of change. And we're guided by the same principles that I think that the UAA goes by, which is they want to build a championship experience with integrity. And as long as we do that with our NIL organization, we'll create an organization that is strong, sustainable, and makes all of Gator Nation proud.
And then at launch, how many student athletes, not just football, but student athletes, do you guys have signed up or plans to sign up? And just how broad of a brush will you hit Gators athletics with?
So at launch, we had over 85 student athletes under contract. The majority of them being on the football team, as you all saw. We had 64 student athletes on the football team, and a number from other sports, including the entire women's softball team as well. So where is this going in the future? We would love to be able to offer NIL opportunities to every single student athlete at the University of Florida. That's where we want to be. We see the need, we see the reason, and we see the impact that each and every one of those student athletes can have. And so that's our goal. That said, we cannot get there overnight. And it's going to take us some time, so please be patient. But the way we get there faster is by getting more funding, getting more memberships, getting more subscriptions, getting more nonprofit donations. The more we get in, the more we can send right back out, and the more student athletes we can add. I could envision a place where in the next year, 2 years, we've got every single student athlete with an exciting NIL opportunity working with Florida Victorious.
And just a question for maybe the person that's uninformed with NIL and recruiting. How would you guys be working in a recruiting perspective? Because I know average fan, every time we whiff on a recruit or miss on a recruit, they can be like, "Oh, what am I donating my money for?" And we missed on this recruit.
We've already seen it. Yeah,
we've already seen it. So just to educate the average person so they don't think you're paying the recruits on the trail or anything like that, just to educate them. How do you guys?
Nate is personally in every recruit's living room that you want, handing them a Louis duffel bag. That's how it works, right?
Or is it the McDonald's bag?
Yeah, either one.
We should be very, very clear here. We only work with current University of Florida student athletes. So when a student athlete enrolls at the University of Florida and is on campus, it's at that point that we would even entertain discussing with them an NIL opportunity. Our goal is to make the NIL opportunities on campus for the current student athletes so attractive that it's a no-brainer for someone who's considering the University of Florida. That's our goal. We want to create the best possible opportunities for NIL for current UF student athletes. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's how it should be designed as well. That's more name, image, likeness, and less, paying people for things they haven't actually, earned yet. So I do like that approach, and that's how it should work. We've said that on this show.
I think it comes into play in recruiting when the recruiter's on campus and a Derek Wingo or somebody says, "Oh, hey, this is what I'm doing," or "Hey, sorry, I have to go run. I'm doing this with Florida Victorious." And okay, what's that? And then I think you start to get the education piece when recruits are on campus and the guys who are Florida athletes, student athletes, are talking to them about the opportunities that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is about current student athletes and giving them opportunities to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness.
Nate, there's a question from Harrison Sanchez here in the chat. It says, can you please ask Nate what the new legislation in Florida will do to the NIL landscape in Florida?
So I'm not a politician, not a legislator. I'll let the legislators do the legislating, but it does certainly help open up some of the lines of communication between us and the university. We've had a very strong relationship with the university, obviously independent and not affiliated with the University of Florida, but we do meet regularly with the compliance team to make sure that we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's and making sure that we're doing things the right way. The new legislation has some impact, but the reality is we're also very, very careful about all the NCAA rules as well.
Perfect. Gentlemen, any final questions from Nate before we get out? I do have one final question, but if you guys have anything else.
Yeah, we were just joking, Nate, because there will be fans who will blame Florida Victorious when someone goes somewhere. We weren't saying that you guys are paying recruits or anything like that. We think that's pretty clear. Yeah. Despite what will come up on social media when a recruit from Texas wants to go to the University of Texas and not Florida or something like that.
Right.
Yep. It is just important to keep that crystal clear.
Yeah.
I do want to say I love the video you guys put out. I love everybody that's involved. Laura
Rutledge
did a video. All of the content looks super professional, looks super sleek. I love the approach. And excited to support, man. I think what you guys doing is dope.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Silk. I appreciate it. It's going to be a heck of a ride. We're just getting started. So I told my team on Tuesday, this is the end of the beginning, and now we're rolling. So let's go. And we need everybody's help to help us win.
It's like the end of the foreword in a book. You're in chapter 1 now. Like we just finished reading the foreword.
That's right. We're just getting started, man.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's exciting. It's positive. It's going to be a game changer, and we're doing it the way that all of Gator Nation should be proud of.
We're very excited as a group and as a fan base to have folks like you and your team, Brian Klatsky and his teams over at Gatorverse, and a lot of the other folks that are involved in NIL at the University of Florida. I want to give a shout out to Ben Chase and a number of others that work in the compliance side and work at giving these student athletes an opportunity. It's been incredible to watch. It's been incredible to see NIL and these players getting paid and getting opportunities and what those opportunities and what those doors open beyond just the big name football player, but for the gymnasts and for the softball athletes and all of those in between. It's incredible to watch. Nate, before we let you off, we do have to get your opinion on a subject that we talked about at the beginning of the show. Silk was at the game on Thursday. And he was in the touchdown terrace area. And so we need to get your opinion on which one you would rather eat before we get out. One is a hot dog with no condiments, and one is a hot dog bun filled with condiments, sans hot dog. Which one would you prefer?
Silk has made a choice to be vegetarian, so he couldn't eat the hot dog, which I don't even know if that's real meat, Silk. You'd probably be fine eating it.
I think you might be okay eating it. But I would be a hot dog with no condiments kind of guy.
Okay,
for sure. I'm not a big condiment guy myself anyway. So
better get
You got a relish sandwich, bro.
It went down smoother, man. That dry dog and that dry bun's gonna go down rough, Nate.
yeah, well, hopefully you have a beer to wash it down with.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Nate, thank you so much for your time, my friend, and we will hopefully be chatting with you often. And best of luck with everything that you guys
Absolutely.
have going on.
Thank you.
Before you leave, let everybody know where they can follow Florida Victorious, visit, learn more about what you guys are offering.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dan. FloridaVictorious.com. Join now. Any of our subscription options, as well as the nonprofit donation or one-time pledge. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, FL_Victorious, everywhere except for Facebook, which is FL.Victorious. Thank you guys very much. By the way, tonight we have an awesome Future of Gators NIL town hall event. It's going to be happening at 6:00. So if you guys are interested in joining, sign up, go to our website, join via Twitter, etc. There'll be a Zoom webinar with Scott Strickland, Coach Napier, and Jose Costa, who's the founder and chairman of Florida Victorious, answering questions. It's hosted by Laura Rutledge. It should be a great 45 or hour conversation.
Wow.
So
It's a who's who. Go check it out, everybody. Go check out Florida Victorious's website. Nate, my friend, we appreciate you. Hopefully this was an enjoyable opportunity and experience for you in the first week, and look forward to continue to support you guys.
absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks,
Go
brother.
Gators.
Go Gators.
All right, take care.
Nate Barbera with Florida Victorious.